if you are working on this assignment digitally, what you can do is you can open another tab up while you're looking at my video, or you can use a blank piece of paper that's going to help you write down notes so that you can answer this on the digital copy and turn it into Google Classrooms. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start with number 1. I'm going to do number 1 for you. If you've already done it, I don't want you to fret. There are only 2 questions, but I do want you to go back and check it to make sure that you did it appropriately. So first what we're going to do is we're going to read the directions, because without the directions, we don't know what to do and what not to do. So right here it says answer the following questions. We got to answer more than one. Make sure that we do complete sentences, and we're going to use the race strategy. Now, if you forgot how to do the race strategy, you know my notes are in Google Classroom, and you also took notes as well. So make sure that you go back and forth to make sure that you're getting each of these letters correct. R, the A, the C, the E. Okay. Note, you already answered the first question in your discussion box on Monday and Tuesday. We just need to make sure that you turn that discussion into a fully developed answer. So let's see. How does the reader know that boxing was very important to Antonio and Felix? These are our 2 main characters, and we know that boxing is important to them. What we need to do is cite specific evidence to support our response. So the very first thing we're going to do is restate the question. Very simple here. So what I'm going to say is, the reader knows that boxing is important to the boys because. Now our sentence is not finished yet, okay? We are going to make the R and the A one complete sentence together. So I'm just going to leave that because hanging there. That because is setting us up for success to answer the question. Okay, so the reader knows that the boxing is important to the boys because. Now I remember in Amigo Brothers, they worked out a lot together, and they both had the same dream. And that same dream was to become champion of the world or something like that, to win some kind of a title. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use those 2 pieces that I remember straight from my memory, and I'm going to use that to answer the question. Really simple, but I'm finishing the sentence right here. And I'm making sure that I put my period. I didn't put a period here because this is one sentence together. We're just breaking it down to answer each portion of that. Okay, so to restate the question, we said the reader knows that boxing is important to the boys because they both dreamed to be champion and they worked hard to practice. That is a full sentence, and we knocked out the R and the A in a matter of minutes. Now for the part that everyone thinks is so difficult, but truly it is not difficult at all. What we need to do is we need to go open the story and find the exact sentence that proves that not only did they dream to be champions, but they also worked out to make sure that their craft of boxing was spectacular. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back to the story, and I have it highlighted right here for you. It says on page 312, even though it's the first page in our story, you can see the title here with the author, Thomas. But here is our evidence that proves that they worked out constantly and that they dreamed to be champions. It says each youngster had a dream of someday becoming lightweight champion of the world. Every chance they had, the boys worked out. So I'm going to use that quote as evidence to prove that it's very important to them. what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this down so that I can copy exactly what it says. I'm going to get this closer. And here goes my citation. I'm going to take from my notes the sentence starter that I taught you guys about. I'm going to say, for example, I'm going to open it up with a quote. Now, your sentence starter may be different than mine, but that's okay. Make sure that you have a sentence starter before you drop the quote. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the quote. Each youngster had a dream of someday becoming champion. Every chance they had. The boys worked out. And I'm going to go ahead and put a period there. So this is just 2 sentences. Although it seems like you did a lot of work, it really isn't too bad. So I'm sorry, I'm not going to put a period here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to end the quotation marks. I'm going to take that period out. Okay. And you know what I need to do is I need to give credit to the person who actually said those words. So if you go back up here, the story was written by Perry Thomas. So I'm going to use his last name, Thomas. And I need to specifically state the page number where I got this from. And as you can see right here, it is page 312. And that's where I'm going to put my period. It looks weird, but it's absolutely 100% the correct way to do it. Okay, and then last but not least, now that we have a quote that proves that boxing is really important to these guys, I need to explain why I use that quote. So this part's really simple, but a lot of my students, they forget this part, or they get a little bit lazy and they leave this part out. But you cannot leave this part out. If you leave this part out, you will have what we call a dangling quote, and those are not good at all. So always sandwich the quote within your explanations, okay? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to explain why I use this quote, and I'm going to use a sentence starter. I'm going to say, it is evident that boxing is important because the quote shows their dedication and dreams. Okay, now I'm going to read it all together, and you're going to see how wonderful it sounds when you answer a question using each portion of the race strategy. The question first says, how does the reader know that boxing was very important to Antonio and Felix? Cite specific evidence to support your response. The reader knows that boxing is important to the boys because they both dreamed to be champion and they worked hard to practice. For example, each youngster had a dream of someday becoming champion. Every chance they had, the boys worked out. We ended the quote. We put Thomas, page 312. It is evident that boxing is important because the quote shows their dedication and dreams. This is a perfect response, and it's only 3 sentences. A lot of my students don't like this because they think it is hard and they think it's too much work. But writing 3 sentences is not too hard. It is not too much work. All you have to do is make sure that you follow these steps very closely, and you are guaranteed to get very, very good grades in my class. Make sure that you follow the steps and you will get good grades in my class. So now your challenge is to take what I've taught you for question number 1. Take your notes and take that story. Take your new knowledge and answer question number 2 to the best of your ability. And question number 2 says, why was the upcoming division match a challenge for Antonio and Felix's friendship? How did the boys have the same point of view about handling the match? Cite specific evidence to support your response. Make sure that you restate the question, then you answer it. These are going to be one sentence. Then you're going to find a piece of evidence from the text that proves your answer to be correct. And then you're going to explain why you used that quote to prove your answer to be correct. Okay? I hope this helps you with your homework. I don't want you to stress out about this. I just want you to try to follow the steps like a recipe to success. As long as you follow those steps, you will get the maximum amount of points possible. Good luck, and don't forget to turn them in. And don't forget to put your name on them.